Okay, let's unpack this. You know that feeling, right? That spark of an idea, the drive to create something new, maybe solve a problem that just has to be solved. That's really the entrepreneurial spirit at its core. And today, we're taking a really deep dive into the dynamic world of entrepreneurship. And we're moving far beyond just starting a business. This deep dive is designed to explore entrepreneurship as a whole mindset, a pretty detailed process. And yeah, it's a significant commitment, no doubt about that. Our mission, basically to distill the most critical insights from a comprehensive guide on entrepreneurship. We want to give you a shortcut to really understanding its foundations, how to spot real opportunities, how to secure that funding, always tricky, manage growth skillfully, and leverage the resources you need along the way. So by the end of this, you're going to have, hopefully, a clear, actionable roadmap and maybe some surprising facts about what it truly takes to build and scale a venture, no matter where you're starting from. So let's kick things off. Maybe challenge some common misconceptions right away. What is an entrepreneur really?
It's not just someone who quits their job to be their own boss, is it?
Yeah, it's interesting how often people equate it with just being self-employed. But our source material, it makes it clear it's quite a bit more nuanced. Entrepreneurship is fundamentally defined as the act of creating, building, and crucially scaling a business or businesses. And the intention is generating profit. But the core distinction, the real aha moment here, is about creating something new and valuable. It's not simply trading your time for money. And this whole act, it's actually underpinned by 6 key characteristics. First, you've got innovation. Now, this isn't always inventing something brand new from scratch. Often it's finding a novel way to deliver something, or maybe a new business model. Second, risk-taking. And we're not talking reckless gambling here. It's more a calculated acceptance of uncertainty, potential losses, often putting your own time and money into something unproven. Third, opportunity recognition. That's that keen ability, that knack for spotting unmet needs or market gaps that, frankly, others might completely miss. Fourth is resourcefulness, basically using whatever resources you have effectively, often quite creatively, especially when you're starting with very little. Fifth, leadership, inspiring, guiding a team, because, let's face it, significant ventures are rarely built totally alone. And finally, persistence, just sheer grit, determination to overcome the inevitable obstacles and setbacks, because they will come.
That distinction between self-employment and creating something new and valuable.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so important. And here's where it gets really interesting for me. The sheer diversity in entrepreneurial paths. Entrepreneur, and most people, they immediately picture like a tech startup founder in a garage, right? But the landscape is far broader than that, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Our source material really hammered this home. Entrepreneurship isn't just one single path. It actually breaks down into several distinct forms, and each is driven by very different motivations and goals. So you have small business entrepreneurship. Think a local bakery, maybe a consultancy. The main goal there is often providing a stable livelihood for the owner, maybe a few employees. Then there's scalable startup entrepreneurship. Now that does fit the tech image more, aiming for rapid growth, often seeking venture capital, trying to disrupt existing markets, thinking big from day one. A less commonly discussed type, but fascinating, is large company entrepreneurship. It's also known as entrepreneurship.
Entrepreneurship.
Exactly. It's about fostering innovation within an existing large corporation. Think Google letting employees spend 20% time on passion projects. That led to things like Gmail.
Oh, okay.
Then there's social entrepreneurship. This is focused squarely on solving social or environmental problems. Impact is the primary driver, sometimes even over profit. We also see serial entrepreneurship. These are individuals who just love the process of building businesses one after another. They build, they exit, they start again. And finally, lifestyle entrepreneurship. Here, the business is intentionally designed around the founder's personal desires, maybe flexibility, freedom, fulfillment, rather than just maximizing profit or growth at all costs. So yeah, each of these types really shows that entrepreneurship isn't one size fits all. It reflects incredibly diverse motivations, diverse objectives.
The point about entrepreneurship, yeah, that's really fascinating. It totally changes how you won't think about innovation inside a big company. So, okay, you've got these different paths, but what kind of attitudes, what beliefs, what's the internal compass, let's say, that helps someone succeed on any of these journeys?
Right, and this brings us neatly to the entrepreneurial mindset. It's this powerful set of attitudes, beliefs, behaviors, and the guide really emphasizes these can be cultivated. It's not something you're just born with. There are about 7 key traits identified. First, a growth mindset. That's the belief your abilities, your intelligence, they aren't fixed. They can be developed through dedication, hard work. Super important. Then there's resilience. Absolutely critical. It's that capacity to bounce back from setbacks, from failures, criticisms, because the path is rarely smooth, right?
Definitely not.
Then creativity for generating fresh ideas, unconventional solutions. Curiosity, always seeking new information, asking why. Looking for learning opportunities. Proactiveness. That means taking initiative, acting on opportunities rather than just waiting around. Optimism helps maintaining a positive outlook, believing in success even when things are tough. And finally, adaptability, just crucial for adjusting swiftly to changing circumstances, market shifts. Maybe one of the most vital traits in today's world, honestly.
So understanding and maybe more importantly, cultivating that internal entrepreneurial engine, that's clearly foundational. But an engine, no matter how powerful, it needs fuel, right? And that fuel is often a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
But how do you not just have an idea, but consistently find and then validate those truly viable business opportunities, especially in a crowded market?
Exactly. And generating viable business ideas isn't usually just about a sudden flash of genius. It's often more of a systematic process. Our sources highlighted several pretty effective approaches. You can start with brainstorming, just focusing purely on quantity first, get a lot of ideas out there, no judgment. But often more impactful is problem identification, actively looking for real-world pain points, inefficiencies, unmet needs that people genuinely struggle with, solving a real problem. Trend analysis is another key one, identifying emerging opportunities from shifts in, say, technology or consumer behavior, industry dynamics. Market research is vital, of course, really understanding what potential customers need and want, maybe through direct conversations, surveys, and competitive analysis helps you study existing businesses. Not just to copy, but to find areas where you can maybe differentiate, do something better. You can also leverage existing skills and knowledge, things you already know or are passionate about, turn that expertise into a business. And crucially, networking. Talking to other entrepreneurs, industry experts, it can provide invaluable insights and connections.
That systematic approach to idea generation. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Less waiting for lightning to strike. But as we all know, not all ideas are good ideas, or at least not all are viable businesses. So once you have these potential ideas, rigorous evaluation is key. How do you really sort the wheat from the chaff? How do you know if you're onto something real?
Yeah, evaluation is absolutely critical. You need to assess the potential before you invest too much time or money. First, you have to look at market size and potential. Is there actually enough demand? Is the market big enough to sustain growth, or is it a tiny niche? Second, analyze the competitive landscape. Can you truly differentiate? Offer something unique? Or are you just jumping into a really crowded space, a red ocean? Third, assess profitability. You need realistic estimates for revenue, a clear handle on your cost structure, and ideally healthy margins. Is there money to be made?
The bottom line.
Exactly. Fourth is feasibility. Do you have the resources needed? The technical know-how? Can you navigate the regulatory stuff? Is it actually doable? Fifth, conduct a SWOT analysis. That's looking at your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. It's a classic framework, but still really useful for strategic planning. Sixth, perform a risk assessment. Identify potential challenges, market shifts, funding drying up, whatever, and plan how you might mitigate them. And finally, clearly define your value proposition. What unique, compelling value do you offer customers? Why should they choose you over the alternatives? What makes you stand out? And to really validate those ideas, and especially that value proposition, market research is just indispensable. There are two main types, really. You've got primary research. That's gathering original data directly from your target market. So things like conducting surveys, doing one-on-one interviews, running focus groups, maybe even just observing customer behavior. Then there's secondary research. That involves analyzing existing data that someone else has already collected. Think industry reports, government economic data, online research, digging into competitor info. You really need both. They're essential for a comprehensive understanding, for validating your business idea with actual data, not just gut feelings or assumptions.
Okay, so once you've got that killer idea, you've validated it with solid research. The next logical step is putting it all down on paper, the business plan. It really is the essential roadmap, isn't it? Outlining your goals, your strategies, financial projections. It seems absolutely crucial both for guiding the business internally and, of course, for trying to secure external funding.
That's exactly right. A comprehensive business plan typically includes several key sections. Although interestingly, the executive summary, that concise, compelling overview, you should always write it last, even though it goes right at the beginning for busy readers.
Good tip.
Yeah. Then you have the company description, mission, vision, legal structure, a detailed market analysis and competitive analysis to show you really understand your industry. You'll describe your products and services in detail, outline your marketing and sales strategy, how you'll reach customers. You introduce your management team, highlighting their relevant experience. This is often super key for investors. Crucially, you need realistic financial projections, income statements, cash flow, balance sheets. Realistic is the key word there. If you're seeking investment, a clear funding request is vital. How much do you need? What exactly will it be used for? And finally, an appendix hold all your supporting documents, resumes, permits, market research data, that sort of thing. Now, when writing a compelling business plan, there are several tips that can really make it stand out. It needs to be clear and concise. Avoid jargon, please. Investors hate wading through fluff. Be realistic in those financial projections. Overly optimistic forecasts, they just scream amateur and raise red flags instantly. You absolutely must clearly articulate your value proposition and highlight your unique competitive advantages. What makes you different and better? And like I said, showcasing the experience and qualifications of your management team is paramount. Investors often back the team as much, if not more, than the idea itself. Always use data and evidence to back up your claims. Don't just make assertions, show your work. And crucially, actively seek feedback. Talk to mentors, advisors, potential investors, get their insights. It's invaluable for refining your plan before you formally present it. And look, you don't have to start from a completely blank page. There are readily available resources that can significantly help create a professional plan. Organizations like the SBA, the Small Business Administration, they offer free templates and guidance. Websites like bplans.com have tons of templates, examples for different industries. And software like LivePlan or StratPad offers structured tools. They help with financial forecasting, strategic planning. They guide you through building out that comprehensive plan step by step.
Now, for many entrepreneurs, this next part, this is often the most critical and, let's be honest, maybe the most daunting step. Securing funding. It can feel like a massive hurdle to clear.
It definitely can feel that way. Our sources walk through a really diverse array of funding options, though, and each has distinct pros and cons. Starting lean, there's bootstrapping, that's funding your business using your own personal savings, or maybe the initial revenue the business generates itself. The big pro there. Full control, no equity dilution. The con, often limited funds, which usually means slower growth.
Trade-offs.
Exactly. Then there's friends and family. This can sometimes be easier to get than, say, a bank loan, but it carries a significant risk of straining personal relationships if things go south. And the funds are typically pretty limited, too.
Okay, moving to external investors. You've got angel investors. These are high net worth individuals investing their own money for equity, usually in early stage startups. Pros here are potentially larger amounts of capital and often really valuable mentorship. The con is you dilute your ownership, you give up some control. Venture capital or VC firms invest much larger sums in high-growth startups, again, for significant equity. They provide big funds, access to huge networks, resources. But the flip side is significant equity dilution and very high expectations for growth and return. Big pressure.
Yeah, I can imagine. Small business loans from banks and other financial institutions let you maintain full control, which is great. But they often require collateral. You have interest payments, and they can be tough for very early-stage companies without a proven track record to get. Then there's crowdfunding. This has really opened things up, democratized fundraising, raising funds from lots of individuals, usually via online platforms. The source material outlines several types. Donation-based, like a charity drive, you give nothing tangible back. Reward-based, you offer specific gifts, maybe pre-sales of your product, think Kickstarter. Equity crowdfunding, where you actually sell company shares to a large number of small investors. And debt crowdfunding, where you borrow money from the crowd, like peer-to-peer lending.
Okay, lots of flavors there.
Yeah. Pros are a potentially large pool of investors, and it's great market validation if people back you. Cons include it takes significant effort to run a good campaign, and there's always the risk you don't hit your funding goal. Lastly, don't forget government grants and programs. Organizations like the SBA, state or local programs, research grants from agencies like the National Science Foundation, NSF, these can offer non-dilutive funding, meaning you don't give up equity, which is huge, often for specific innovative projects, though.
That's a truly comprehensive financial toolkit. Wow. It sounds like maybe the hardest part isn't even finding options, but figuring out which one, or maybe which combination, is right for your specific situation, your specific dream. Now, okay, let's say you've navigated that secured funding, you have a solid plan. Now it's time to actually build and manage the business. This is where the rubber truly meets the road, right? The essential operational aspects, the day-to-day stuff.
Indeed. And one of the very first crucial choices when you're building is your legal structure. This decision, it impacts everything: your liability protection, your taxes, administrative requirements. For instance, a sole proprietorship is super easy to set up, but you and the business, legally the same. So all your personal assets are potentially at risk if the business fails or gets sued.
Oof, risky.
Yeah. A partnership lets you share resources, but general partners also face that unlimited personal liability. An LLC, limited liability company, is really popular. It offers limited personal liability, creates that legal wall between you and the business, but still gives you flexibility in how you're taxed. A corporation is a completely separate legal entity. Also provides limited personal liability, but it's generally more complex to set up, more paperwork, more stringent rules. Beyond that legal setup, effective operations management is just key to daily efficiency. This involves things like optimizing your supply chain management. And that's not just about cost, it's about building resilience against disruptions too. Super important now. It also includes things like inventory management, quality control, and constantly looking for process improvement. How can we do this better, faster, cheaper? For marketing and sales, you absolutely need a clear marketing strategy, a strong branding identity, what do you stand for, effective digital marketing website, social media, ads, a defined sales process, and a robust customer relationship management system, a CRM. That's basically software to manage and analyze all your customer interactions and data. It's crucial for building loyalty, understanding your customers better. Then there's financial management, covering core aspects like precise budgeting, generating accurate financial reporting so you know how you're actually doing, meticulous cash flow management, absolutely vital. You can be profitable on paper and still run out of cash.
The classic killer.
It really is. And strategic tax planning. For managing your people, human resources management, that encompasses recruitment and selection, getting the right people on the bus, training and development, helping them grow, fair compensation and benefits, performance management, and fostering positive employee relations. And finally, staying competitive means embracing technology and innovation, actively adopting new tech where it makes sense, continuously developing new products or services, and leveraging data analytics to make smarter decisions across the board.
Wow. That is a lot of plates to keep spinning effectively day in and day out.
Yeah.
It really underscores the complexity. But let's look ahead a bit. Once those plates are spinning, hopefully smoothly, there's the exciting phase, but often really challenging too, of scaling the business, growing it. And then perhaps surprisingly, thinking about the end game, planning for an exit is maybe just as important as planning the start.
Absolutely. Growth or scaling, it involves several different strategic approaches. You could pursue market expansion, maybe moving into new geographic areas, or targeting completely new customer segments. Product diversification means adding new offerings, new services to what you sell, broadening your portfolio. Strategic partnerships let you collaborate with other businesses, maybe expand your reach, gain capabilities without a full merger. Franchising is a path for certain types of repeatable business models, letting others open branches under your brand and systems. And finally, mergers and acquisitions, M&A. This can rapidly grow your market share or capabilities by either buying another company or merging with one. However, growth itself brings significant challenges. You have to be really diligent about maintaining quality as you expand. It's easy for things to slip. Carefully managing cash flow is critical during rapid growth. It consumes cash. You have to fund that expansion without overstretching financially. You need to learn to effectively delegate authority to your growing team without losing oversight completely. That's a tough balance.
Yeah, letting go.
Exactly. Building a strong team that can actually support that expansion while somehow maintaining your core company culture. That's hard. And just remaining highly adaptable to change, because as you grow, the market changes, your organization evolves rapidly. You have to keep adjusting.
And as you mentioned, planning for the end. Thinking about exit strategies. That's as important as planning the start. What are some of the common ways an entrepreneur might exit their business?
Yeah, planning an exit is actually really smart business. It gives you a potential end goal for all your hard work. Common options include acquisition. That's where another company buys your business. Often a larger strategic buyer looking for your market share, your tech, your team. An initial public offering, IPO. That means selling shares of your company to the general public on a stock exchange. Can generate huge capital, but it comes with intense public scrutiny, tons of regulations, very demanding. A management buyout, MBO, is when your existing management team buys the business from you. Often they use leveraged financing, borrowing against the company's assets. Liquidation involves selling off all the business assets and just closing down operations. Usually, that's a last resort if other options aren't viable. And of course, for many family-owned businesses, passing the business to family members is a very common and often personally meaningful way to exit.
This entire journey sounds immense, a true undertaking. But the good news is you definitely don't have to embark on it completely alone. There's actually an abundance of support and resources available out there, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely. You're definitely not alone. Our deep dive highlighted numerous invaluable resources entrepreneurs can tap into. For government resources, you should definitely look into the Small Business Administration, SBA. They offer a vast array of programs, loan guarantees, counseling. SCORE is a fantastic nonprofit. They provide free mentorship and business counseling from experienced volunteers, people who've been there, done that. And small business development centers, SBDCs, often located at universities, offer free confidential counseling and training to small businesses too. Then there are tons of great online resources. Websites like entrepreneur.com, inc.com, forts.com. They offer just a wealth of articles, advice, industry news, constantly updated. Networking organizations are key. Think local chambers of commerce, specific industry associations for your field, and entrepreneurial meetup groups. Great for connections, shared experiences, peer support.
Yeah, find your tribe.
Exactly. And critical for personalized guidance are mentors and advisors. Finding experienced entrepreneurs or experts in specific fields, finance, marketing, whatever, who can offer tailored advice based on your situation. And finally, don't overlook educational programs. University business schools, MBAs, online courses from platforms like Coursera or edX, workshops, seminars. They offer structured learning and skill development to fill any knowledge gaps you might have.
Wow, we've really covered the full spectrum today, haven't we? From understanding the very definition of entrepreneurship and cultivating that essential mindset, all the way through the practical step-by-step process. Planning, securing that vital funding, skillfully managing the day-to-day, strategically scaling up, and ultimately even planning for the exit. You listening now truly have, I think, a strong foundational understanding of what it takes to navigate this incredible, challenging, but potentially rewarding journey.
Yeah, it's really fascinating, isn't it? How the entrepreneurial journey, with its blend of structured planning on one hand and that adaptable, resilient thinking on the other, how much it mirrors so many challenges in life, really, beyond just starting a business, which kind of raises an important question, I think. Beyond launching a company, how might cultivating an entrepreneurial mindset with its emphasis on problem solving, on resilience, on curiosity, how might that empower you in any area of your life, making you better equipped maybe to navigate uncertainty and create value, regardless of your specific role or your current pursuits? Something to think about.
That's a great thought to leave everyone with. Maybe reflect on what specific aspect of entrepreneurship resonated most with you from today's deep dive, or perhaps how you might apply this broad knowledge in your own pursuits, whether that's actually launching a new venture or maybe just fostering more innovation right where you are.